Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again to review Love and Death, Episode 6, The Big Top. I really liked this episode. I really liked it. I was looking forward to it, especially after last week. As last week... this week it's almost the same. Fucking Mr. Iron Fist himself. Well, he wasn't Iron Fist, but I call him Mr. Iron Fist because he was really the star of that show as well. He is the star of this episode now, and it's like now he's taken over the show. And I think one of my favorite things about this show, in general, has been the different perspectives, the different people taking over. There were moments where it felt like it was Jesse Plemons' show. There were moments where it felt like it was Pat's show, the husband of Candy. There were obviously lots of moments where it felt like Candy's show. And now it almost feels like it is the show of Mr. Lawyer Guy. And I just really like this episode. I've been watching so much courtroom stuff this year that I really hope that's not a hint at something. Like how last year I was watching all these fucking house destruction movies and house destruction shows and how that was a hint for what was to come. Like, I hope this isn't like some sort of a clue or something I don't know. So I'm just saying. But I really liked this courtroom episode. Like, it didn't really feel like a typical courtroom episode in terms of, it didn't have those annoying cliches. It didn't have the thing where the lawyer walks right up to the jury. It didn't have a lot of stuff like that really annoys me when I watch courtroom drama shows or movies. And that's saying something, because I watched Judgment at Nuremberg for the first time a couple of months ago, and obviously that's considered a very epic, masterful courtroom drama. And this kind of measures in the middle towards that. Like, if you had a scale, this is like, it's like halfway there to being that level. And yeah, first off, Jesse Plemons returns, and he does his own testimony, and I felt like that was kind of sad because his character, when I first watched the show, I said, like, he was like the star of the show, he's good in everything, and oh, it's so cool, he has this story that he's in, and he's the main part of it. But now he had his little testimony scene, and I feel like, is he even going to be, like, there the rest of the show? Like, is he going to ever encounter Candy again privately? Is he going to call her? It kind of feels like it's sad. He's not really the show anymore. He's sitting on a park bench, and he's depressed, and he's eating some sandwich or something. That was a pretty funny scene. Like, I really hope that someone takes that scene of him just sad eating and then playing Hello Darkness, My Old Friend behind it, because that'd be really hilarious. Hashtag sad Jesse Plemons. Hashtag sad sandwich. I don't even think it was a sad sandwich. It just... I don't even know if I was able to see what was on the sandwich. Like, I think it was covered in, like, brown bag or something, and so that's kind of sad, too. Like, now we have a mystery. What is the sandwich? What do you guys think? Let's take a bet. Was it ham and cheese? Was it turkey club? Was it roast beef and cheese? Was it a BLT? Was it a grilled cheese? They had this really weird sandwich on Leave It to Beaver episode 2 days ago, where I was watching that, and the mom is like, "Oh, here's your sandwiches. It's cream cheese and jelly." and I was like, ooh, what the fuck is that? Like, I've never heard of cream cheese and jelly before. Like, ooh. In fact, let's look that up. Who eats cream cheese and jelly sandwiches? What the fuck is up with that? Cream cheese and... Oh, God, they do. Ew. 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 I mean, I could understand eating that on a bagel, because bagels, they're more so kind of sweet and it makes more sense. It's like a breakfasty kind of thing, although I want to have something savory with that. But to have it as a sandwich, like a sandwich for lunch, is just bizarre. It's so creepy. They should have had Candy eat a cream cheese and jelly sandwich, because I feel like that's something she would do. Speaking of Candy, she's really not doing well in this episode. After last episode where she had her acting moment of the year with that therapy session at the end, or the hypnosis. She's really not doing well, and she has to take drugs to calm her nerves in court, which I would understand, and she's really like I don't know, like it seems like I expected, after seeing the pictures of her in real life, because I saw like pictures of her at the trial, she looked exactly like how Elizabeth Olsen looks in this episode. And I thought at first, like, is that just her lawyer telling her to act like that? Is she just putting on an act herself? Like, what's going on? But no, it really seems like she genuinely feels terrible and just, I don't know, like she looks really, really in distress. So she's kind of checked out this whole episode. Like, she's at home. She's not the talkative Candy, I'm a really nice Texas woman. I'm going to talk for years and years about it. She's really quiet and to herself. And her family wants to talk to her about what's going on, and she doesn't want to talk about any of that crap. And so there's a couple of nice scenes with that. And of course, we finally got to hear what Pat thought about her confession, and this like nice little scene between her and him. That was probably their best scene the whole episode, because it felt like a really nice little moment, like another nice moment. Like, they really have good chemistry together. This scene, and then of course episode 3, where they had those scenes together. So I like that scene a lot. At the actual trial, as I was saying, Jesse Plemons, his character basically handed Candy the case. I mean, he was almost like checked out as well. Like, he was just kind of like, okay, I gotta tell the truth, I guess, and I'm just gonna tell the basic bare minimum truth. Yes, no, and maybe, I don't think so. That's what he acted like this episode. So, and of course, this is all from real life, so I guess it's in real life, too, that he acted like this. And I know that doesn't make any sense, but you have to think about it in terms of, it is a show, but at the same time, what do they exaggerate, or what do they make up for the show that isn't from real life? I don't really know. It could be like just a couple of things here and there. In this case, I don't know. And the judge is a huge jackass. He's really coming off like a villain, which is weird, because he's not the person who killed Betty with an axe 40 times or 41 times. And that was the question that I had been thinking about this whole time. Like, I forgot to talk about that in the last video, where I said, did Candy really mean to kill her? Did she really kill her? 40 times, over 40 times. And you just have to think about the strength the strength that you'd have to possess to do that, I have. Well, I can't talk about that actually. It's not me specifically. I mean, for a story, a script, and everything. Never mind. But, you'd expect someone with a lot more strength to, be able to handle that axe 40 times. They even talk about it in the episode. This is a very unwieldy weapon. It is not a weapon that is optimal for killing purposes. Even when you're mad or pissed off like Elizabeth Olsen was or whatever, it's not a very good choice. Why use that when you could use a kitchen knife or a hammer? Or I wouldn't want to do that, so I can't really think about that anymore. I can't even think like, oh, what would be the most optimal weapons? I don't care. I don't want to know. Probably just my roasting. I would just stand there and roast someone to death and just be like, you're trash, you're this, you're that. I just joke at them, and then they fall down and cry, and I'd be like, yes, ultimate victory. And then I walk off the screen like a fucking Mortal Kombat character. So anyways, we also get a couple of other characters that we saw earlier on, and they all return briefly and talk about what happened on the day and everything. So yeah, just pretty typical courtroom story. The lawyer is having a spar with the judge, which is a little bit of a conflict. In fact, he is going to have to pay a fine and possibly spend a day in jail at the end of the trial for quote-unquote contempt of court. And so I thought that was pretty interesting, their dynamic, the judge and this lawyer, that was another great thing about the episode. I hope it continues on towards next episode, which I think it will. By the end of this episode, I will say this too. This episode is like one of the best build-ups to a finale that I've seen all year. Your Honor Season 2, it had a pretty good build-up to a finale, but then it completely fell flat and it just became a piece of trash again, like it was in Season 1. But this show, they really showed you a masterclass in how to build up a story, build up the tension, and build things up to that next episode. Because at the end of this episode, first off, this pathologist talks about all of the wounds on Betty. And he goes into graphic detail, and it's obviously like, ooh, God, this is awful. Gross. So unnatural, so sick that someone could do this to someone else. And then right after that, this sequence goes on for like 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 8 minutes. Right after that, the fucking Iron Fist, Mr. Iron Fist, he has to call on Candy to be on the stand and testify. And at the same time, she has ignored his warnings, and she is taking that medication anyway, even though he's told her, don't do that. It's not going to look good for the trial. You have to testify with a clear mind. And it's like, oh shit, like she has to testify right now. And he goes up to the judge, and this was the best part of the whole episode. He goes up to the judge and he says, she is not ready. She needs more time. She's on a medication. Can we please just postpone this towards tomorrow? And the judge is like, okay, I'll give you a fucking little 10-minute timeout, you little twat. You little twat lawyer. And he's just like, what? And it's like, that was insane. That was really, really good. I felt like, see, that just made me completely excited for next week more than anything else. Like, White House plumbers, who cares? random movies, who cares? Another Goosebumps book, who cares? I am excited for Love and Death, episode 7. And it's entitled Shh. Because apparently, the theory is that she killed Betty because she was triggered by Betty saying shh. And that was a trigger from her childhood trauma where her mom did that to her. And I thought that was really interesting because, how many murder cases are there where, it's possible that the person who committed the murder was triggered by something that, that we'll never know about. Maybe they never got any psychological hypnosis session. Maybe they never got any counseling to determine any of their childhood triggers. There's always this thing with like, oh, were you abused as a child? But in this case, like, she wasn't, as far as I saw, it was a very brief flashback. But as far as I saw, she wasn't like abused, like, full on abused as a child. She just had this major childhood trauma. And so whenever she hears shh, then it will trigger her. And so I thought that's really interesting. And I wonder, how many cases there are. Because if you think about it, there could be a lot. There could be a lot of murders that happen where it was just one person who got killed, and the person who killed them did it on accident because of a past trauma that was triggered right there. So that's kind of interesting. I mean, I'm a huge true crime person. I hesitate to say fan because that makes me sound like a weird, retarded person. But I'm a huge true crime person. And I can't really think of a case right now where I would think that would apply. But it would be really interesting to like dig into past cases and see like how many are there. Because on the surface level, like, this is a really brutal crime. I mean, 41 times. And my question was, the same question that other people probably had. How could she do this 41 times? I mean, how many times did Sharon get stabbed again? I thought it was 70 or 40. She was only stabbed 16 times. 16 times she was stabbed. This woman was hacked by an axe 41 times. That is more than triple the amount of times that one of the most infamous murder victims in history was stabbed. I mean, that's pretty insane. And to say that, like, oh, it's just a clear case of self-defense, I don't really know. I think that it's like 80%, 20%. Like, I'd still think there's an extra element there of, like, maybe it was self-defense at first, but then it became something else. Like, I don't know, though. I don't know. But I do think that the trigger started it. It was self-defense, and then it turned into something else. Because 41 times, and you hear the detail of, like, what explicitly happened. Like, half of her face was gone. Like, there were all these blows that would have possibly killed her regardless. Like, just individual, like, little cuts and things that she did could have killed her easily. But she went on and went on. So this was a great episode. And I would like to amend my past episode ratings. I would give episode 5 an A-, because then I would like to give this episode an A+. I thought that this was a great episode of television. The characters were great. The story was great. It kept me glued the entire time. I'm so sad that the show's already gonna end next week because I'm really gonna miss the show. And oh yeah, I guess you could also mention how Candy's like one of her closest friends, or her past closest friend, the female minister who left. She has turned on Candy fully because she does not believe the self-defense theory. And I thought that was really sad. So that could also possibly be like the reason that Candy is so upset. Like, it might not even be because of the trial. It might really primarily be because she lost her best friend. And then on the flip side, another funny thing is that the new young minister, he is like fully in support of her, and he's fully like on television, like giving her all the praise that she needs. And I thought that was really funny because it's like at the beginning of this series, we all expected, I think, for the first minister to be on her side, and for the new minister to be like, fuck you, biatch, I didn't know you anyway. I just got in this town, and then you committed murder. I mean, that's crazy. Why would you do that to me? Like, he wasn't like that. He's completely on her side so that they can support the church or something. Like, it's pretty funny. So, great episode of TV, and for tomorrow, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. It was really funny because I put up this poll, and it's not like I'm mentioning this poll so that people would vote on it. Or maybe I am. Who knows? It's another mystery, and it's very clear what the answer is. So, Monk is our most recent like full series that we've been reviewing. We've been reviewing a lot of TV, but Monk has been the primary focus, and I'm going to need another primary focus to put onto this channel to keep on pushing through, watching all the TV shows from the past, the good ones, the bad ones, the okay ones. And I put up a poll where you can vote on which one I will watch. And I'm going to read you the choices here and then talk about each choice. I could have easily just made the decision myself like a man, but I thought, a lot of my viewers are men, or very manly women too, or just very cool, or just awesome. I don't know. I'm just fucking around. So we have American Gothic. I heard of the show randomly on Twitter, and I thought, you know what? It looks and sounds like a really good show. It's really short though. And then Carnival, a viewer has recommended that for a while now. And I thought that sounded really, really good. I mean, I'm going to watch these shows no matter what, honestly. And then Haven. Haven is another show that I never heard of before, but it sounds really good. It's like a Stephen King show, and it sounds like something that I would be into. And then also Californication. Last year, I had reviewed season 1, and I thought that, obviously it's really, really good, and I reviewed it, and then I never even reviewed the rest of the series. So, I would maybe like to finish that series. It's 6 other seasons, and believe me, it would be epic to review. And then lastly, I also finish American Horror Story. I have about 4 seasons of that left. I'm just really not looking forward to, every season of American Horror Story. It's the same thing. It starts off really good. It has some really good episodes and moments, and then it gets really terrible at the end. It's really, really disappointing. Like, season 4, disappointing. All of them, so disappointing. And I hate the idea of, like, watching these seasons, full-on seasons, where every season you end up disappointed at the end. It just kind of sickens me. But it's funny because while I was thinking about these shows and what to review, guess what happened? All of a sudden, I came up with the perfect idea for an American Horror Story season. Not only an American Horror Story season, but an American Horror Story spin-off show. Multiple seasons. In an ideal world, 10. In a semi-ideal world, 8 seasons. In a realistic world, 7 seasons. And it would be really, really good. And so I am going to share that idea with you tomorrow. And if you're a fan of the show, if you're a fan of my reviews of the show, you're going to love it, because it's like, you know, you can kind of see all the reasoning behind every little decision and why this would be that, why this would be this. And you're going to see what the best, not this fucking Kim Kardashian bullshit that they're making right now. Fucking, of all people in the universe, you have to add that fat ass fake bitch Kim Kardashian to a show. What the fuck are you thinking? You couldn't pay me to add Kim Kardashian into my movie or show. Like right now, it'd be nice to have that kind of like person in my work, at my level, the small level. You couldn't pay me $1 million to put Kim Kardashian in my film. You couldn't have her do something very bad. Nothing would persuade me. Not a fucking thing in the universe. However, if it would mean getting this show made, this spin-off show made, I would put her in the show every episode for one season, because it is so good, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. So look forward to that. And please like this video, comment, tell me what you thought of Love and Death Episode 6, The Big Top. Again, I really, really liked it, and I hope that you did as well. And then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more honest reviews. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.